All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we are going to talk about some basics of foreign exchange and some international transactions, how that gets impacted. All right, let's start with the quotes. So there are these things called direct quotes and indirect quotes. So we're going to look at this setup here. I made a note on top saying that we are viewing this as if we are in the United States. So we will be the home currency. But of course, any country you're in, that would be the home currency. Now, when they say direct quote, what it means is how many US dollars would it take to buy one of that foreign currency? So the first example we have is euro. So how many dollars do I need to buy 1 euro? And in this case, they're telling us that the spot rate, the rate right now is 1.25. So the euro is worth more. It takes $1.25 to buy 1 euro. And that will be considered a direct quote. Now, if you want the indirect quote, which is the flip side of it, how much of the foreign currency would you need to buy $1, 1 US dollar? It's as simple as you take 1 divided by whatever the other quote was, and that gives you the flip side. If you have the direct quote, the reciprocal is the indirect quote, and vice versa. So in this case, it takes 80 euro cents, or whatever they call it, but a 0.8 euros to buy $1. And that will be the indirect quote when you are in the home currency. If you were in Europe, then you just call this the direct quote and call this the indirect quote. Okay, so what we have here is we're talking about the Swedish krona. I think that's how you pronounce it. In this case, they give us the indirect quote. So it takes 7 Swedish krona, whatever, to buy 1 US dollar. And to take the direct quote, in other words, the reciprocal, the flip side of it, how many dollars does it take to buy 1 Swedish krona? So it's equals 1 divided by that quote. So it takes about a little over 14 cents to buy 1 Swedish krona. Now, what you typically see is this. This is what you typically see. These right here. So this is the direct quote way of seeing it. Now, sometimes this is a little weird because it looks like you're doing euros divided by dollars, but no. What it's saying is to buy 1 euro, how many dollars? That's what it's saying. About 1 euro for how many dollars? That's the way to look at it. And that's not just to it. So in this case, it's 1.25. So to buy 1 euro, I need $1.25. To buy $1, I need 0.8 euro. It's still the same. I could have just either 1 divided by that, or I already know it's this, so I can do that. So to buy 1 euro, I need $1.25. To buy $1, I need 0.8 euros. That's the way to think about that. And this is the direct quote. So when you got the home currency at the bottom, or the right-hand side, I should say, not bottom, because it sounds like I'm dividing. If you have the home currency on the right-hand side, that's the direct quote. Here, same thing. So to buy 1 Swedish krona, how many dollars do I need? We already know that that's this one. To buy $1, how many Swedish krona do I need? We already know that that's that one there. So this is what you typically see when you go look for foreign exchange quotes. Now, cross rates. Now, what happens is that you may not always see certain combinations. Like you go online and you see the euro and the Swedish krona. Well, the euro versus the dollar and the dollar versus the krona, but you might not see the euro versus the krona. So to buy 1 euro, how many kronas do I need? So what you can do is what we call a cross rate. And all you do in this situation is you can multiply the direct quote times the indirect quote. So you see how, and the reason is because you see how the euro is on the left-hand side and the krona is on the right-hand side. You want to maintain that relationship. You want to maintain that relationship, the euro on the left-hand side and the krona on the right-hand side. So it's going to be that one times this one equals that one times this one. So to buy 1 euro, you'll need 8.75 Swedish krona. Now, if we do it this way, remember, keep the relationship. So it would be the one with the Swedish krona on the left multiplied by the one with the euro on the right. So we can do that one times that one. Now, like a lot of you, the easy way is once you already have that one there, you can do the 1 divided by it, and it gives you the same result. Let's put some decimals down so you can see it. See that? So once you have 1, you can still do the reciprocal for the other one. But I wanted to do both that way so you can see the whole point of keep the same place. Euro on the left, euro on the left. Swedish krona on the right, Swedish krona on the right. So those are the ones that get multiplied. And over here, same story. Now, when you actually read it, it's krona per dollar, which is what I mean. That sounds counterintuitive when it sounds weird when you see it this way in your head, but it's not a division really. It's just the way the system works. And that's pretty much how you can get your direct quotes, indirect quotes, and then the cross rates if you don't have the actual direct or indirect quote. And now you know the relationship between all of them. Okay, let's see how, this is a very basic, simple international transaction, just to go over the basics of how prices and profits kind of work out. So let's say you have, I think the slide examples, the one in the textbook, they use beef jerky. So if you are going to produce 1 unit, or you don't have to produce 1 unit, but we're talking about units here, 1 unit of whatever your production is. And the production country is the United States, so that means that's the home country. And they're going to ship it to France. Now, the cost to produce the unit in the United States, it's $1.75. Well, produce and ship. Imagine the entire cost to produce and get it to France is $1.75. And they want to mark it up by 50%. The idea is to make a 50% markup because that's what they want for profit, for earnings, per unit. So what's our target price? It's as simple as using the growth formula. So we're going to take the cost and we're going to multiply by 1 plus the markup. And the target price is $2.63 in order to achieve the goals we want. But so what should be the price in euros when you put it in the store out there in France? So there's 2 ways we can do this. In this oversimplified expression, you can get away with this. You can do target price divided by the direct quote, which is this. That's what I wrote there, target price divided by direct quote. This divided by that. Or you can do the target price multiplied by the indirect quote. Either one. You know what? That should be euros. Let's go ahead and format that. There you go. That's better. €2.10. Okay, so that's, you have a markup, and that's your pricing strategy, cost plus the markup. We call that cost plus pricing. Now, let's say that you're a price taker, and in Sweden, you already know those things sell for 20 kroners. You don't get to manipulate or choose how much you're going to charge. So let's say that now you're producing in France and you're going to ship to Sweden. And let's say that your production cost in France is €2. And that's including the shipment to Sweden. And the market price in Sweden is 20 kroner. So you want to know what's your profit at the end of the day in US dollars, because you're still a US company, you just happen to be producing and shipping from France. So first, let's talk about what does this €2 translate to Swedish kroner. There's more than one way to do this, but this is the way we're going to do it. Doing the transferring the cost to Swedish kroner. So how do you do that? We already know that we already have the cross rate here, the euro and the Swedish kroner. So we take the €2 and you're going to multiply it by that, and that's how much is that's the equivalent cost in kroners in Sweden, even though you're doing that. Now, what's the profit? Simple as, well, you sell it for 20 kroners and it costs you that much to produce and ship, you're down to that. So what's the profit in US? All right, so we do have this rates, the direct quotes and the indirect quotes over here. So we take the kroners here and we're going to divide it by the indirect quote in this case to bring it back to dollars. Let me see if I got it in the right place. And that is your profit. That is your profit. All right. So I guess to look at another way, not just doing it through the kroners there, but going through, I guess, the market price in euros and then going from there. That's another way to do it. So we can take the market price in euros is what we're looking for now. So what we do is we take the market price in kroners multiplied by the cross rate you already have over here, and selling it for 20 kroners in Sweden is the same as saying €2.29. So what's the profit in euros? That's how much you sell it for. It costs you that much, 0.29 euros. How much is that in dollars? Well, we do know that this times the direct quote, 36 cents. You still end up with the same profit. It's just, and like I said, there's multiple ways you can continue to turn this around to find the same number. We can convert it all to dollars first and then do the subtraction. Either way, that is your profit no matter how you look at it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about foreign exchange risk. You see, these are what they call floating quotes, floating currencies. They don't stay at that relationship. Right now, we're saying that the USD versus Sweden, it was 7, right? The indirect quote. Well, what happens if it goes to 9? Let's start figuring that out. You see, because if you're in the middle of an international transaction and your foreign exchange rate changes, that's going to impact your profits, because it doesn't mean the market price is going to change just like that. There's a lot of factors that come in play. So just to start with, let's check what's the change on the percent of change. So just like always, take new minus old divided by old, and that's a 28.57% change. It went from 7 to 9. Now, when you look at it from this perspective, we're going to say, the way to say it is that the dollar appreciated by 28.57%. The point is that $1 it used to buy you 7 Swedish kronor. Now $1 buys you 9, so it buys you more. So therefore the dollar appreciated. Okay, now let's look at it. If we look at it from the other angle, we were doing the indirect quote. Now we're going to do the direct quote. Sorry, let me just go back here. So as before, to get from indirect to direct, you just put 1 divided by the one you have, and that's a reciprocal. Now, what's the percentage change there? So we do the same. Equals the new one minus the old one. That's the old one, right? Yeah. Divided by the old one. And we have a negative 22.22%. Now notice that it's not just the negative of this one. It doesn't work that way. In this case, if you look at it from this angle, you will say the krona depreciated. Mathematically speaking, both of these things are the same, mathematically speaking. If you were to use these numbers to figure out other calculations, you still end up in the same place. It's just that when you look at it from the indirect quote, then it came up positive, then the dollar appreciated. If this would have gone under the old one, which is a negative, and now this was positive, then yeah, sure, the dollar depreciated or the krona appreciated. So the point is, indirect quote, you look at it from the dollar perspective and you say appreciate or depreciate. Direct quote, you'll say the krona appreciated or depreciated. That's how it works, and by that much. So let's see what happens to our profit if indeed it goes from 7 to 9. All right. So remember, you sell it for 20. This is assuming the euro didn't have that impact, which in real life, this whole cross rate and all that would have changed probably your cost in France, but let's just assume that your cost in France is still 2 euros. You still, the cross rate didn't impact. Well, let me say it differently. Let's get the relationship maintained to where the profit was still 250 kroner. Whether the cost change and the price in the market change, we're going to assume, just for this example, that the profit stayed the same. And then, just like we did before, do the conversion, except that now we're going to divide it by this one. Notice how your profit is less now. Your profit is less valuable because while you're still making the same 250 kroner, when you convert it back to dollars, you get less dollars. So when the dollar appreciates, you may lose profits on international transactions, and vice versa. If the dollar goes down in value, you start making more money because you get more dollars. It's a tricky thing. That's why a lot of times when you hear in the news about, oh, we have a trade deficit, what's the problem? But sometimes it has to do a lot with the value of the dollar. When the dollar is strong, it's going to impact trade. but it gets a lot more complicated, but that's more of an economics class. If you're interested in knowing how that works, you want to Google balance of payments. That's what it's called. And it shows you how that whole trade and capital and currencies and all that mess goes up and down. But at the end of the day, you end up with the same wealth, just in a different place. Now, some create more jobs than others, and that's a problem. That could be an issue. But that's an economics class. Okay, that is it for this video. The piece on foreign exchange. Foreign exchange gets a lot more complex, but this is not a class on foreign exchange. So this is just so you understand that companies have to be careful with exchange rates when they are doing international business. They just quick extra detail. They do a lot, and we'll talk about forwards and futures in the next one. But they do a lot of contracts to lock in prices and exchange rates in the future. That way, they can already lock in their estimated profits without the risk of these exchange rates. But that's for another class. See you on the next video.